Okay, so can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome,
looks
awesome.
good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the Global Power Platform Bootcamp. So the session, the name is Inspiring Your Dynamics 365 or Power Platform Journey. So I'll give you a little bit more about myself here. So I'm Alex Chandiwana. So I'm based in the United Kingdom, and I'm a solution designer. Been within the Dynamics 365 space for the past 7 years now. And what I tend to do myself is to get involved with the community in terms of sharing ideas. And I also do write some blog posts. I will share my blog post where I write about the Power Platform and Dynamics 365. So what is the session all about? So this session here, it's about my journey where it all started into Dynamics, showing some of the possibilities, what is on offer for everybody who wants to get started, or anyone who's currently working with the Power Platform. So one of the topics we'll cover here is how to get started with the technology and how the community can actually bring all of us together and how it can help us. So just a quick story here. So how it started, the whole journey. Originally, I'm sure some of you can tell with the accent. I'm originally from Zimbabwe in Africa. So never heard of a computer. This is a picture of me here quite a few years back. Never know a computer existed. Never know Microsoft was a company. So back here, the school, sitting on little stones, writing on the grass, nothing else. So eventually in 2001, moved to the UK, went to college, went to school. The next thing is started working on the train companies, checking people's tickets. Amazing. I'm thinking, okay, great. I'm doing an amazing job. Being on social media, decided to go on Facebook. So I came across a colleague called Martin van Berger. Don't know who he is. Started asking him questions. I want to get involved in IT. What can I do? So the story here, Martin, I didn't realize is managing director for Orbis. He gave his time. He said, look, I'm going to help you get where you want to get to. Ask me as much questions as needed. So that was a welcome. And at the same time, I came across two other colleagues who actually worked in the Dynamics space, got guidance, got help. Along the way, there comes the challenges. So eventually, felt comfortable, went for job interviews, and within this journey, I've been hired as a first line support. So if you remember a few minutes ago, I said coming from Zimbabwe, never had access to a computer, never sat down to a computer, never be really interested. So got the job, and as a first line support, got to the organization. I now see something like this. And at this point, I'm thinking, what have I put myself into? Where am I going? So this is the springboard. The hiring manager has now introduced me to the team, telling them that I'm the escalation point because I interviewed very well, I understand what I'm doing. So of course, I didn't get phased with it. So if you can see, the springboard is here. I'm now sitting here, I'm busy thinking, how am I going to tackle this? So then I did not hide away, put my hand up and I said, this is a challenge. It's not something I've done in the past, but I'm happy to take it on. So this moment in time, I'm being proactive. A few weeks later, I've now been assigned a client. So within this client, that's where some of the challenges came. And one of the things which came here, for some of you who currently use Dynamics 365, or if you haven't used Dynamics 365, there's a lovely tool which is called bulk record deletion. So what happened here? At this point, I had a request to delete 2 account records. What I did here is I didn't understand the requirement correctly. So I went to run a bulk record deletion job. And then 20 minutes later, I had an email from the client telling me that their records are getting lower and lower. So you can imagine the client is not happy. So I didn't shy away. So I put my hand up, told my manager exactly what I did and what I'm going to do to get things right. So of course, here the lesson here is every single time things happen to go wrong, it's very, very important for us to put our hands up. So one of the key things, whether we are starting with the platform, whether we work in the platform, is very, very important, to be honest. Why is it important? To be honest, one of the key things here is our colleagues will gain confidence in the work we are doing. And at the same time, we are limiting business interruption for either our clients or for the organizations we're working with. One of the things I learned here in the case of the bulk deletion job was paying attention. It's very, very important here. Why is it important? Paying attention, asking questions, understand fully the requirement. So once you have paid attention, you understand the requirement, it helps you to limit some of these mistakes. So in my own case, all these things here happened. I was honest, I put my hand up. And what I learned was to pay the attention and not shying away in terms of asking these questions to make sure what I need to be doing is done correctly. So again, do not start passing blame to anyone. There's no shame in putting your hand up, apologizing, acknowledging your mistake. We all make mistakes. That's one of the things, that's for sure. So it's very, very important to own it, because at the same time, it boosts our confidence within the teams, and at the same time, yourself as well. You get to know, okay, if things go wrong here, this is how I'm going to fix it. This is how I'm going to approach it. So in most cases, once I started with this role, I would spend quite a lot of time in the evenings doing some more reading, doing some more research to understand, to see what I can bring to the table. So a lot of a lot of us, sometimes we go to work, we do exactly what we've been asked to do. So okay, you get asked to say, okay, we're looking for a solution to automate our business process or something like that. You look straight away, okay, I'm going to create a workflow. Some cases it's good to be proactive. Start looking at Power Automate. What capabilities can we bring to the table using Power Automate? We'll talk about Power Automate for some of you, if we have anyone on the call who hasn't had anything about Power Automate. So that's a little story about myself here. So the question here now is, if you are about to get started within the technology, or if you're working in the technology as well, what can you do to get started and to carry on that process, that journey within the technology? So in here, where is it to start? So Dynamics 365 Power Platform, huge area. So you need to focus on exactly what you need to learn. You need to focus on what you need to understand. So that focus is very, very important. Once you have that focus, you have made that decision, it's important to start learning. A lot of questions come up, okay, where do I get started in terms of learning? As we go along within the session, I will show you in terms of learning where we get started. In terms of focus, I will show you some of the areas involved with the Power Platform. So it's amazing to focus and to learn. However, reading something online or reading a book and doing it is two different things. So one of the things Microsoft do very well is they give us the option to try this technology on a trial basis. Again, it's something we'll show you as we go along in the session. And once we have the knowledge, we've tried it, it's also important to go and validate your skills, go and certify. And like many, including myself, exams can be a challenge, but how do we get ourselves certified? How do we put our knowledge of what we have learned to the test? How do we validate it? So it's something we'll talk about. So we're going to start looking on this focus area here. So Dynamics 365, we have ERP solutions, and in some cases, what you see on these slides here, the product is ever changing. So some names might have changed. However, I'll share a Microsoft link where you can always keep up to date with some of these changes. So we have Dynamics 365 for finance. So before you get started, you can say, I'm going to focus on finance. I'm going to look at the payroll within an organization. So there's a lot of things in here, areas for you to learn, and all this is available for you to learn on a site, which I will shortly show you on a Microsoft site. You have Dynamics 365 supply chain management. So again, there's a lot of things you can learn in here. So sit down with yourself, start looking, okay, this is what I'm going to focus on. This is what I'm going to look at. 365 project operations, business central, warehouse management, accounts payable. So you have quite a lot of things here to decide from. So it's not one size fits all here. You have that decision to say, okay, that's interesting. I'm going to focus on this area. This is the direction of travel I'm going to focus on. What else is involved? We have CRM solutions. We have Dynamics 365 for sales, Dynamics 365 sales professional, relationship sales, customer service professional, field service, and marketing. What you can see here, if you are studying and you just decide to jump in and say, okay, I'm going to learn anything, it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of information involved here. So it's very, very important to make that decision. Is it a bad idea to learn some of the items? Definitely not. However, I always recommend to understand the fundamental, the understanding of the product itself, then specialize in one area. After you specialize, you can bring in more components. That way you're not confusing yourself. We also have modular solutions. We have 365 e-commerce, 365 for human resources. You also have the mobile app. So Dynamics 365 universal resource scheduling, omni-channel, gamification, app for Outlook. Again, we are now bringing integrations with other services here. You got LinkedIn Connector. An organization is looking for insights, either sales insights or talent insights. You got the connector to look at LinkedIn. You have Unified Service Desk, and you have 365 for phones and tablets. So again, it's quite a huge space to look at here. So again, you're not just being limited to just these are solutions I will just covered. You then go into artificial intelligence solutions. You're now looking at sales insights. You're looking at customer service insights. You're also looking at customer insights. Organization wants to know these insights to make informed and strategic decision of where they're going within their brand or within the products they offer to their customers. So it could be an organization looking at how many complaints they've had. It could be an organization looking what is interesting for their organization. Then that way, targeted marketing can begin, and an organization can now start planning ahead. At this phase of the year, this is the amount of products we need. We need to make sure we meet the demand. So you have virtual agent for customer service here. You have fraud protection, product insights, Dynamics 365 connected store, finance insights, and customer data platform. So again, here we are now engaging artificial intelligence within our organization. What else is involved? We have mixed reality. So we have Dynamics 365 remote assist, where you now is based on HoloLenses, mobile support. So a very good example for Dynamics 365 remote assist. You can imagine an organization like BP, and they have an issue on the rig, on the oil rig, either in the North Sea. So in most cases, they would send an engineer. Either if you now start talking about an engineer who's based in the US, an engineer who's based in Germany, what you can now do is you can now look at Dynamics 365 Remote Assist. Those employees you have on the site, on the oil rig, they can get remote assistance on what to do, on how to fix the problem with someone just sitting either in an office. With the pandemic, it could be someone sitting at home using Dynamics 365 Remote Assist. So you have product visualize, 365 guides, and Dynamics 365 import tool. So again, what we are seeing here, there's quite a lot of things involved. Either you're getting started or you're using the technology already. So again, there's no harm in start looking at these things and say, okay, I'm going to give everything in learning this technology. We have dynamic services. We have a 365 planning service. So like I said in the beginning of the slide, some of the names have changed, and I will share the URL where you can see some of these updates which are continuously being made by Microsoft. So you have inventory on hand service, configurable business documents, reporting Word and Excel. So again, once you understand those fundamentals, it gives you the insight of an area of what may be of interest to yourself, or an area you find yourself to say, okay, great, I'm going to this area, I'm going to have lots of fun. So it's not just about learning, it's also about having that fun learning the technology, because some of these things, I can tell you myself from experience, they're exciting. And I'm pretty sure some of you who work with the technology, I'm sure you found out some of these things are great. We spoke about the Power Platform. So in here, we now start talking about Power Automate. We're talking about automating business processes. We don't want to be sitting here and saying, okay, I need to book a holiday. I need to fill out a piece of paper, put it on a manager's desk, automate the process, create either a form. With that form, have Power Automate to process, send an email to the manager approves it on an email. As we spoke a few slides ago, we spoke about organizations want to look at insights. We now have Power BI to visualize the data. We have senior management teams, we have team leads, different levels in the organizations. They're on the move. They want to have a look at the data. How is my organization performing today? Where are things going wrong? Where have the numbers gone up or gone low? What areas of improvement can we look at? So Power BI, very, very powerful tool in looking at data sources, surfacing data. So you can have data reflecting on a live, or you can have data on a scheduled basis being sent as a report to the person who requires it. We have Power Apps. So in here, traditionally, we used to think, okay, we are using a lot of Excel spreadsheets here. We need to start thinking, where do we go get a solution to actually change that? So Power Apps give you the ability to connect with the main data source, either it's Dataverse. You start building your app. So instead of using an Excel spreadsheet, you're using an app, you're connecting your data. So apart from just creating that app, you're connecting your data, incorporate Power Automate, automate some of the processes, Power BI, surface some of the visualizations. So you can imagine an organization is using paper, and unfortunately, if the building catches fire or the documents go missing, that's a problem in itself for an organization. An organization will be in serious trouble. So we also have Power Virtual Agents. So Power Virtual Agents, you start looking, we have bots analytics, we have AI chatbots. So there's quite a lot of things in here for you to start looking into, to start diving into, upskill yourself, enhance the knowledge you have. So what you also have here, you have Microsoft 365. So Microsoft 365 integrates with these services here. So you're not just saying, okay, I'm just at the top here, disregard this. You also have Microsoft Azure, cloud computing. You're now starting having your data in Azure. For those of you who have used Dynamics 365, and if you haven't used Dynamics 365, you also have capabilities of having a SQL database on Azure. How do you do that? You have something called a data export service, which gives you a replica of the database, and then you can start working on it. Again, these are some of the core services available. You also have the lifecycle services. So lifecycle services, you have environmental management, business process management, library updates. So there's quite a lot of things in here for us to look at. So this name here has recently changed. It's not Microsoft Forms Pro anymore. So again, that's why I mentioned that earlier. You also have Microsoft Graph, which will help you to look at the gateway to data and intelligence. So it's a whole big area. And I'm pretty sure some of you are now thinking, okay, that's just too much. Where do I get started? Where am I going to find a place to learn all these things? So one of the good things which have happened in the past few years, Microsoft have done great work in creating something called Microsoft Learn. So within Microsoft Learn, you have role-based learning paths. So in here, you can see an introduction to Power Apps. And what you can see, there are some tags to these learning paths. So you have Power Platform. It can be for a business analyst. It can be for a beginner. Overall, it can be for anybody. So if you're looking to understand what Power Apps is all about, jumping into Microsoft Learn, or visit the Microsoft Learn site and see how you can navigate around it. So you can see some of the things available. Again, what you have here, getting started with using Dataverse, previously known as CDS. So again, you have the tags for beginner, functional consultant, Dynamics 365. So where and what is needed for you to make this happen? All I can say is it's a world full of possibilities. All you just need to do is wanting to do it, wanting to learn, wanting to make that extra step. Either you're beginning or you're within your career. You want to bring some new skills to your current already existing skills. So we spoke about deciding what to learn. We spoke about where you can come and learn. And at the same time, it's also good to try the technology, look at what's involved. So in here, this is a trial. You get a trial for 30 days from Microsoft. So this will give you 30 days to try the technology. Start looking, what is this Dynamics 365 all about? If you're within the space already, start looking at some of the new features. Try some of these interesting things and bring value to your organization you're working with, or if you're getting started, create a career for yourself. So again, I will show where we can get the trial from. You also have Power Apps. You have Canvas apps. You have model-driven apps. You also have portals. So again, you're getting the trial free of charge. There's no cost whatsoever, free for you to learn, free for you to actually understand the fundamentals, some of the advanced stuff involved within this technology. So what you see here is the URL. We'll speak about this URL towards the end of the slides. I'll open that URL and we can show you some of the capabilities we have here. And you also have this URL here about setting up a trial environment for the Power Platform. So there's a lot of information, right? We're busy thinking now, okay, that's just too much. Where am I going to go? Don't worry, it is possible once you make that decision to understand where you're learning to and where you're going. So once you finish trying the technology, you understand the fundamentals, you understand what's involved, push yourself to certify. Once you certify, earn some badges. There are some badges to be won. You'll be awarded some of these badges here once you complete the exam. So there's an opportunity to validate, to say, okay, that's challenging. So in some cases, I'll give you a personal story. In some cases, I go to these exams, I give everything, prepare, and sometimes I fail. Once you fail, myself, I take it as a positive because I now know, okay, this is my weak area. This is what I need to improve on. Go back to the drawing board, start learning again. Make sure that area, either you failed, you understand it well, go back again and test that knowledge and see exactly what happens. So it is very, very important. In some cases, you might be thinking, how am I going to get started in preparing for these events? So one of the things you have coming up, you have a community event, which is called Certification Saturday. I will show you on the URL exactly what takes place at this event. And this event is on the 10th of April this year. Again, it is a free event for anyone to attend. For those of you who are currently within the technology already, feel free to submit a session how you prepare for these exams. Share your tricks, share some of the experiences you've had in terms of learning the technology. So there's a lot of things here. You've got started, you've upskilled yourself. Like anyone else, we do come across some challenges. What are those challenges and where is it you can get help? So here, there's a lot of places to get help. So one of them being user groups. So the community, which is the Power Platform and Dynamics communities, they've grown rapidly in recent years. So in every location, you have a user group. And again, one of the things to happen in these set times we currently have with the pandemic, these events are being held virtually, which means you can attend a user group from a different location. Once you attend these user groups, connect with the peers, connect with somebody. Why is it important to connect? There's something from either myself to learn from that person, or there's something that person can learn from me. In some cases, you can share ideas on how I found something interesting. Oh, some of the challenges I meet day to day, and I can say, okay, yeah, I've come across that problem. This is how I fix it. There's a new feature. Have you seen this? So it is very, very important to connect. So you can use LinkedIn, you can use Twitter. There's a lot of areas and ways to connect with your peers or with someone you meet at the user group. So it's important to connect. However, it is also very, very important to get involved. Why is it important to get involved? You want to share some of that knowledge you've gained. You want to share some of the experiences you're having, either in your workplace or in your area of study. So a very good example here is in terms of getting involved. In some cases, I have an issue with one of my best technologies, which is Power Automate. And sometimes when I have a problem, I look and research how to fix these problems. And in that case, I then write a blog and say, okay, this was a problem. This is how I fixed it. This is what caused it. And this is how to avoid it going forward. So the opportunities are limitless. So you also have Microsoft events. So you have events taking place from Microsoft side, and one of them being coming up, Microsoft Ignite. These events, it's a huge opportunity to actually learn, to ask questions, for you again to put your hand up and get involved. Get involved when there's a call for someone to come and deliver a session or a table talk. Put your hands around, be around everyone. Reason being is the more we are, the stronger the community becomes, and the more we learn as well. So again, these are some of the areas you can get help from. However, you also want to do things in your own time, right? So one of the things you have here, these are some of the resources which are available to learn from. I'm not going to go through them. I'm going to show you on the website so you can actually see what these things are all about. And these are resources for you to learn from. So I will share these slides with the event organizers. And if you need to visit these URLs, please feel free to dive in and pick up something from it. You also have resources to get help from. So if you're using Power Automate, you have these hashtags here. And I'll go and speak a bit more about these hashtags now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move away from this slide, and I'm going to go to the URL. So we spoke about Microsoft Learn. So Microsoft Learn is, for me, I call it a gold mine because it's got everything in terms of learning. It is raw based. So select the raw based area. Look at App Maker. You want to start learning how to create these apps. What is it all about these apps? And what you see here, you have how to create a Canvas app in Power Apps, how to automate a business process. Again, do you need to do it straight away and finish it in one go? The answer is it is self-paced. So do it at your own pace. Make sure you understand. If you don't understand, revisit it. If it's not getting in, go online. Start doing some research, either on Google, go on Twitter, start asking questions. One of the tricks I'll show you when you go on Twitter, if you're looking to get a quicker response, and if you want to get others involved, I will show you shortly. So we also have Dynamics trials. So here, this is where you come, you create your trial. So if you see here, you have all these modules which are part of Dynamics 365. And what you need to do in here is select sign up. So at the end, I'll share my blog post if you need steps on how to actually go through it. I'll share that there are steps there. There's other colleagues in the community as well. We have kind of set steps on how to create these trial environments. So again, put your hands-on experience from what you've read into this Dynamics 365 trial environment. We spoke about power apps. So in here, what you now have is multiple ways to start a trial. So you visit the URL, you have a trial standard. However, how you create it is just different. So again, you want to learn Power Apps. At the same time, you want to learn Dynamics 365. So you can come in here, create an environment of Power Apps. Once you have your tenant, go to the trials.dynamics.com and then have your Dynamics trial environment as part of the tenant. So you're trying this technology, you're understanding it, you're creating some nice things, amazing things there. Again, we talk about going to test your knowledge and certify. So what you see here, the date says 12th of December. Unfortunately, I did reach out to the organizer. It's a typo error. So here you have the option to then register. So you have these Dynamics exams, which will be covered. You have Power Platform exams. So you get an overview. Which exam should you take first? My own personal recommendation, I always go for the fundamentals exam. So I understand the foundation, then I build upon that. How to prepare for an exam. So again, these are events organized by the community. Feel free to select register. Once you register, you get the invitation to the event. What else is available? So we also have this certification Saturday. So again, for those of you currently in the technology already, you also have the option to go and submit a session. Come and share some of those amazing revision tips and tricks you have. For me personally, I always look forward to these things to understand how other people actually learn and prepare for these exams. So with Microsoft, one of the things they've done greatly is all the products they offer. They have this cloud perspectives. So if there's a new feature coming, they do update it. So in this example, we're going to look at the Power Platform. So if I select Power Platform, you have an option to select Power BI. You have an option to select Power Automate. So in here, we're going to select Power Apps as an example. And you start seeing this website is frequently updated. There's something coming up. There's something for you to learn from. So always jump in here. Again, you don't have to do it every day. Whenever you have capacity, join in, start looking exactly what is it which has been shared in here. How does it affect my organization? Is there something I can take away to my organization? So again, you're being proactive. You're not waiting for either the organization to ask you, do you know about this? Straight away, you know what's coming, you know how it's going to come. Share that information. We also have this VPG group. So VPG Group, it's a virtual power group. That's what it stands for. So you have learning events. So if you see Power Ups nights every 3 weeks on a Monday, again, you have colleagues giving their time to share and to educate others on their experience with Power Ups. Again, it is a free event. Sign up, get involved, learn something. In some cases, you might have some experience. Bring something to the table, share some of that experience with your colleagues. So we spoke about user groups. So if you see here, we have lots of local user groups. And what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to focus on the map. So if you see here, there's something happening somewhere in almost every continent. So in some cases, you realize, okay, maybe the area I am in, there's no user group. That connecting with other colleagues, you attending these user groups will help you put this idea forward. Start a user group. Let's make the community grow. So there's a lot of possibilities here in terms of the user groups. It's not just about creating it, but it's also about making things happen. Let's share this knowledge. Again, we all have the knowledge. The saying we say is knowledge is power. So the more we share our knowledge, it's great. The more we absorb it ourselves, it's amazing stuff. You also have experience.dynamics.com. So again, this takes you to Microsoft Learn. If you select useful resources, you also have community. You start seeing people asking questions, people sharing some of the answers here. And once you're familiar with the product, once you realize, okay, I think this could work slightly different. It would be good if it works like this. Submit an idea. In some cases, we want to understand, okay, I understand the platform. What's coming next? Look at the roadmap. So again, once you start looking at this roadmap, there's a lot of things you can take away. There's a lot of things you can learn from. So here we also have one of the best ones, which I came across myself. I was introduced to it by a colleague. So here it is the Virtual Events Hub. So what you can see here, you might recognize some faces. If you're new to the technology, you have events being run by colleagues in the community. So again, it could be just an event, which is a user group. So what you can see, there's a calendar which you can subscribe to. So with this calendar here, what you can see here, you have the Global Automation Bootcamp, you have the Power Virtual Happy Hour. So in here, let me go to today's date, which is the 19th of February. You have the Power Platform Bootcamp. It's in here. Select the URL, look which one you want to attend, find something to learn. And in some cases, these are announced nice and early. Get involved. Request a session and go and share some of your experiences. So this is a great place to be. You can basically look, there's the Scottish Summit in here. There's the Cambridge Power Platform User Group. So again, you don't necessarily have to be there because of the circumstances we find ourselves in. So you can submit to attend and attend virtually. So we spoke about getting help. I have a question. I'm trying to ask someone a question. I don't really want to get to a colleague and straight away and say, oh, I've got this problem. How can I fix it? Do the research yourself as much as you can. If you happen to be stuck, you have something which is one of my favorites on Twitter. So if it's something to do with the power apps, there is a power addict hashtag. So ask your question, put the hashtag power addict. There's loads and lots of people in the community who are part of this power addict hashtag. So ask the question, there's someone who come and they'll give you an answer. So I'll give you an example. A few months back, I had an issue with a Power App and Power Automate, some integrations to look at SharePoint. And at some point, I got stuck. So I came in here, asked the question, and believe it or not, within 10 minutes, someone came and said, okay, have you tried this? So I went and tried that, and that was my solution. So I just didn't leave it there. and then went to write about it. So that's where it's important to be part of this community. We also have a hashtag which is called FlowFarm. So you might ask, FlowFarm Power Automate. So of course the name again was changed. So it's now Power Automate. However, the hashtag still lives on. So if you haven't issued Power Automate, ask your question. It's not just a question. You might have something to share yourself. You might just have done something which is just great. Go and share on Twitter. Use the hashtag FlowFarm. Everyone will see it, will learn from it, and it might be a new idea for someone to go and implement it, their own organization even. For those of you using bots, again, you have bot squad in here. So you can use the bot squad hashtag. There's bound to be somebody who come up, propose something. There's bound to be somebody who's going to learn on something you have shared. So again, most of us, I'm pretty sure we're familiar with YouTube. So on YouTube, you have the Dynamics 365 Microsoft channel. That's not the only one. You have loads and loads of community colleagues involved as part of this journey. And what they do is they go on YouTube, do some vlogs, share some of their experiences. So you have, again, an opportunity to go on YouTube, look at some of these vlogs. In some cases, you see a vlog on how to actually set up something and how to do something. So it's a great opportunity for all of us to go and dive into. So going back to the slides, so as you already had some of the journey where for me it began to, I started having lots of questions from people from different areas, either on LinkedIn, sometimes on Twitter, sometimes on Facebook. So I want to set up a community. So the community is called Microsoft Power Platform Africa Community. So the question is, what is it all about? So this is a community which is open to anyone. So you can be in Europe, or you can be in the Americas, anywhere, wherever you are. Join in. I'll show you where you can join in. You can join in on LinkedIn. You can join on Facebook. So on Facebook, we have about 1,700 subscribers who get involved either in some information we share, or they ask questions on where they get started. So who is it for? So again, you might be someone getting started. You might be someone already in the technology. Come and share some of those experiences for others to learn from. So again, I've already spoken about why this user group, again, is to bring about the community together, share some of these ideas and learn from each other. So here, what we have is we have the Facebook group in here, which is the Microsoft Power Platform Africa community. You can find me on Twitter, and I also have Microsoft Dynamics 365 Power Platform Africa community on LinkedIn. For those of you on these platforms, please feel free to connect. Anyone who connects on Twitter, I will endeavor to make sure I follow back. So one of the things in here, I think we've gone through quite a lot of information. And one of the things I want to ask is, do we have any questions from anyone so far?
No, it doesn't seem so.
Okay, awesome. So one of the things which the organizers have kindly done for us for this event, they've got some swag to be won. So please scan this QR code in here, complete the survey, and that will also help the organizers and also the session speakers in terms of this session. But again, you have the opportunity to win some swag. So if there's no further questions, thank you so much for taking time on a Friday to join this session. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Alex.
thank you, Alex. We have to say
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Really,
and
really.
I'll be honest. The session, like the one you just held, is exactly what such events are all about.
Exactly.
Your journey from a young boy in Zimbabwe to a technician in London with all the stations, that is really great. And also, yeah, the most of all the messages you gave us, focus on topics, never stop learning, and feel free to ask help. Really cool.
It was really,
Very
really
well
awesome.
done.
It was really, really awesome. Very inspirational. Was really, really great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us. Really,
Thank
really
you.
great.
Thank you. Yeah. So for anyone with if they happen to have any questions, I'm here throughout the day now. So feel free to drop a
Okay.
message.
Cool.